Okay, we've got to talk about the new version 1.1 of the OGL, because there's something that Wizards of the Coast doesn't want you to know about. This leak of the new OGL version 1.1, yeah, it was intentional. You know, when I first heard about the leak, I think it was Thursday, right before I was going on a live stream, and I did not want to believe it. I thought that it was more drama, more attention seeking, more folks that just wanted to get views on YouTube or karma on Reddit or follows or whatever on Twitter. You see, there were some things that Wizards of the Coast in their statement told us would be in version 1.1 of the OGL. They told us there would be reporting requirements. You have to identify yourself. You have to identify the products you're going to make. You have to report your revenue to them. They told us they would be taking a royalty from the top creators that would only for sure be like 10 people in the entire world. And they told us, they assured us that most people are going to be completely unaffected by this. So, you know, not to worry, because we love D&D and you love D&D, and you can rest assured most are going to be unaffected. But the leak revealed things that they, I guess, didn't think we needed to know about. Wasn't worth telling us in their statement. You see, they included in the leak that they can change the terms at any time. For instance, right now it's $750,000 and above that you have to pay a royalty of 25%, but they could lower that at any time with 30 days notice to be $20,000 or $5,000 of gross income, and then the royalty could become 100%. But you've signed the agreement, you only have 30 days notice, and they can change it at any time they want. They can also decide who can and can't use their license. Like, I would have to apply to use their license. They would review my application and say, oh, that's Luke from the DM Lair. He's extremely critical of us at times. Yeah, we're going to deny his application. He's not going to be able to use this license and create content under it. Or let's say that they're in a good mood and they let me in and I start creating OGL version 1.1 content for One D&D and whatever else, and everything is great. And then after a few months, you know, I put out a video saying this, that, or the other, and they decide, oh, you know what? We don't like him anymore. Let's just kick him out because I did something that they didn't approve of. The crazy thing too is that this leak shows that version 1.1 would stipulate that Wizards of the Coast would own whatever I created under the license. Any creator out there that uses version 1.1, anything you create, Wizards of the Coast would have the right in perpetuity that cannot be revoked to use your content. For instance, let's pretend that I'm using version 1.1 and I have a massive Kickstarter. I do another Kickstarter, Layers and Legends 2, and we gross $300,000 this time under version 1.1. I'm excited and my team's excited, and man, we worked hard. We created this entire book. We created all of this content. And then Wizards comes along and says, hey, Luke, yeah, guess what? We're revoking your license. You can no longer publish content. And by the way, thank you for writing this book for us. We're going to take all of this content and we're going to repurpose it and we're going to sell it as our own because I gave my rights away. I allowed them to be able to do that when I signed version 1.1 of that license. But if that all sounds really, really bad and horrible and atrocious, and it should, because it is, the very worst part is it's not just 1.1 of the license that's bad. It's not just creating stuff for One D&D that you would have to agree to all of these crazy terms. But part of the leaks shows that they want to unauthorize or revoke version 1.0A of the Open Gaming license, which is what everybody right now like me uses to create content. And doing so would make it so that hundreds of third-party publishers like me, like Paizo, like DM Dave, like you name it, whoever is out there doing Kickstarters under that license, whoever is out there that has a Patreon that's successful, making some cash for that license, everybody would have to cease and desist immediately because version 1.0A is unauthorized now, revoked, and cannot be used to create content using their IP, using the SRD that has been in place for 23 years. So, can't create content, we can no longer run our businesses, we can no longer take bread home to our families. Many of us are not rolling in money. We're just getting by. We're paying teams of people, employees, their expenses. We pay artists to do these things. There's layout, there's lots of things that go into publishing. And the margin is not super high. And we're getting by and we're paying the bills and we're doing something that we love, but there's not a whole lot there to give. And when this license gets yanked out from underneath us, well, things are bad. You know, I think it comes down to when you look at this, when you look at their open gaming license and what they're turning it into, it's not an open gaming license. It is very much a closed gaming license. And no one should even contemplate signing this thing, agreeing to this horrible new OGL version 1.1. It's a non-starter. Signing it would be insane. It would be absurd. And here's the other thing. These new OGL 1.1 terms and the deauthorizing of the version 1.0a, which is basically a ploy to push everybody else out of the industry, out of publishing content under that license, and for Wizards to be able to take everything for themselves. This is a slap in the face to us creators. It is disgusting. We have helped elevate D&D so much. And Wizards of the Coast for that matter. For instance, my case, I have devoted the last, I think, 4 years of my life to creating videos about Dungeons and Dragons, helping dungeon masters, helping to explain how to be a dungeon master, giving advice and tips and helping them to overcome some of the challenges they have being a dungeon master, running the game. And many of these dungeon masters have written me and have told me that if it wasn't for the things, the videos and the resources that my team and I produce, they would have probably given up. They would have been so frustrated and wouldn't know what to do that they would have just given up on it all. And so those are people, those are customers that remained playing the game and that I'm sure went on and bought tons of Wizards of the Coast products and merchandise and other little things that they have. And that's just me. I'm just one person out of all of these creators, out of all the influencers, out of all the product developers and creators out there that have done something similar. We have helped elevate this hobby. We have helped turn this into something bigger and better and grander than what it was when OGL version 1.0a was released by Wizards of the Coast. We have definitely done a ton to aid their business. Now, this is what they do to us. This is how they treat us. Like nothing. Like we were helping them, right? And we were getting some scraps from, you know, the table and living our lives and being happy about it. And Wizards of the Coast made $1 billion last year. This mega mammoth amount of money, and we're mostly getting scraps. Some of us are doing better than others, granted, but that's not good enough for them. They have to take what we have away from us and give us nothing, give us a cold, empty plate, and just tell us to go elsewhere. It's the corporate greed, the epitome, the height of corporate greed. Now, I was thinking about this leak and I was thinking about, is this true? You know, is this false? Like, could it possibly be? And I'm waiting for Wizards of the Coast to say something, Thursday goes by, nothing. Friday goes by, nothing. Now, I know they don't work weekends. I mean, you know, they probably are right now, but no statement, no nothing. And the more there's silence, the more I'm thinking to myself, I bet this is true then. I bet this is true. Because if it had not been true, if the leak had been totally false, how easy is it for Wizards of the Coast to come quickly and be like, that's nothing. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. Let's set the record straight. Quick, fast response to prevent a product relations disaster, which right now is burning the game and potentially the community to the ground. They didn't do that. They didn't do that. The longer they wait without a statement, it tells me that they are sitting there and watching because they maybe got caught with their pants down, or maybe it was intentional. Maybe it was intentional. You see, waiting this long means that it's true, means that this information is true, means that the information from the leak about all of these horrible things is true. And now Wizards of the Coast is sitting there and they're calculating and they're planning their next steps. They're looking at the community reactions. They're looking at what people are saying, and they're running things by their legal departments. They're running things by their public relations people. I am convinced that this leak was intentional. It was completely intentional. I guarantee you that this is something that somebody, some brain child at Wizards had this idea. It's probably not that even that original of an idea, because this happened a lot before, to intentionally leak this information out. And why would they leak it out? Well, to gauge the reaction of the community, to gauge our reaction, to see what happens. Are people going to hate it? Are they going to be okay with it? Like, what's actually going to happen if we throw this information out there? Because if it's a leak and people really hate it, well, then we can always come and say, no, we didn't say that. We didn't say that. That's crazy. So they can test the waters before they actually make the announcement. Furthermore, they can look at the community's response. They can look at what different people are saying. Like already we've had lawyers and other folks, that industry experts opining on different things, whether it can be unauthorized, whether it can be revoked or not. And they can see all of these different arguments and all of these different things that folks are saying, so that they can develop a defense plan, so they can know how they should react and how they can defend their own position and develop perhaps even more of a legal case for their argument. It's to help them develop a plan of action, 100% to develop a plan of action based upon what we say and our reaction. Now, there are a few different things that I think Wizards of the Coast is probably going to say at this point, and I would expect them to say something this week. Holy crap, how long are they going to sit on it and say nothing? It's insane. First of all, they could come out and just say the leak's not true. They're not going to revoke Open Gaming License versions 1.0a. It's totally wrong. It's totally not true. It's not going to be deauthorized. It's going to be just fine. And they might clarify some of the other stuff that's in version 1.1 that is particularly bad, such as being able to take your content and use it however they want, which is the same thing that they do on DM's Guild, so it probably shouldn't surprise us a whole lot. Now, they might also come and say, whoa, okay, guys, you guys are right. You guys are right. These terms are pretty bad, and you know what? We're going to change them. We're going to make them better for you. And they're going to tweak it. The royalty is only 15%. They might make the terms slightly better. And then they can come and say, hey, we listened to our community. We listened to the players, and we gave you more of what you were looking for. But that was an oversight on our part. We do apologize for that, but now we're going to work with you. And then they're going to use a very common psychological trick in negotiations called anchoring, where they put something in your mind that is very bad, which is the leak that came out. And then, because we fixated on something that's so very bad, that is our anchor. And then if they... My cat just freaked out over there. And then if they come back with something that's better, that's not nearly as bad, we're all going to be like, oh my gosh. Wow, thank you. Well, at least it's not that. At least we got something better. Or maybe they just confirm it and press forward and just say, yep, that's it. This is what it is. Suck it up. We have a big, huge legal team and a massive war chest. Are you going to fight us in court? Yeah, I didn't think so. But there's a certain point, I think, that it doesn't really matter what they respond with. It doesn't matter what they say, whether they say they're not going to revoke the Open Gaming License version 1.0a, or if they make version 1.1 better, because I feel like at this point, we know what's in their heart of hearts. We know what they really want, and we know what they think of us, creators, influencers, and D&D community members. And I think we need to ask ourselves some very hard questions. We need to ask ourselves, can we trust Wizards of the Coast at this point? Is this a company that we wish to support with our money? I mean, I know I'm asking myself these questions. I'm really asking myself these questions. I'm asking myself, what's I'm going to do with my channel? What's the direction of my channel going forward? Can I possibly continue to support this company when I know what they're doing? The greed that lies in their hearts and the complete disregard they have for the hundreds of amazing creators out there that have busted their butts to make this game, this hobby better. All right, so if you believe that what Wizards of the Coast is doing is wrong, is unconscionable, is despicable, and just plain evil, I urge you to do a few things here. First of all, sign the Open D&D letter that is linked below. The more people that we can get to sign this, and there are already tons of people that have done so, we can demonstrate to Wizards of the Coast how very, very, very bad this is, hopefully convince them of the error of their ways, and influence change. And when you're on social media such as Twitter, use the hashtag opendnd. Get awareness, draw attention to this, and share this video, share other videos like this one so we can spread the word about what's going on at Wizards of the Coast and in the D&D community. Second, keep on supporting third-party publishers, content creators financially. Even if their output, even if their ability to create some of these products ends up being affected by these changes. And if you're not already supporting them, I urge you to do so. Consider doing so if you can, if you're able to do so. I have a feeling that many of us are going to be going through a rough stretch here. I know that myself, I'm going to have to be paying some attorney fees to figure out what path I go forward with my business and what we're going to do. What exactly we're going to do, because a large part of my business relies on the Open Gaming License version 1.0a, and if it indeed becomes unauthorized and revoked, I have to make some hard decisions, and there's going to be some attorney fees involved with my being able to make those. And I also might suggest that you take whatever money you were planning on spending on Wizards of the Coast products and redirecting it somewhere else. Sending it to some of these third-party content creators, publishers, influencers, people who are doing work that you approve of, people who have some ethics and morals and aren't sleazy, heartless, cold monsters, and give them your money as well. I have a Patreon you're welcome to support. I know lots of other content creators have Patreons as well. They have storefronts as well. There are lots of people out there that are making amazing content and products that you can go out and support, because you see, the thing is that going up against a $1 billion company is daunting. Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast likely have a war chest, a massive war chest in the millions of dollars perhaps, to fight any litigation, regardless of the questionable legality of unauthorizing or revoking version 1.0a of the Open Gaming License. They basically want to bully us into submission. They want to threaten us with cease and desist letters and lawyers and legal action. Let's show them that we won't go quietly, that we won't go without a fight.